Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Just awesome to have you along for the ride. Aaron Nola dominating the New York Mets is just pretty much exactly what you need in a mid-afternoon, early afternoon game there. 1:10 start time against the New York Metropolitans. Aaron Nola was absolutely dealing yesterday. The only disappointing thing, let me just get this out of the way. 109 pitches. That I know that's not like an epic amount. It's not like 120 or whatever, but he was on cruise control in the sixth inning of the game. No, he goes through the first inning of the game. So first time through the order. So third inning of the game, he only had 32 pitches logged. Like that's incredible in this day and age. And seeing how he was able to go through that game was spectacular. And then a little bit of trouble late, just in terms of a lot of pitches, not necessarily threats from the New York Mets in terms of scoring. No better example than a 3-pitch seventh inning. Good Lord. But Aaron Nola was just a joy to watch. There's a couple of things I want to get into about the game. One is Aaron Nola. 2 is Byson Stott. And 3 is actually Garrett Stubbs. Because Garrett Stubbs is in need of a kind of feel-good moment for himself. And not that this series I'm expecting to be a turnaround for Garrett Stubbs or anything like that. But the guy needed something. And the last 2 days, he's at least gotten something. We'll talk about that. I also want to get into Howie Roseman and what the next move could be for the Philadelphia Eagles. Because I was actually asked this question yesterday during an interview. It was on with my guys, BG, they're at Bird Gang 31, right? And they said, what do you think's next for Howie? And I thought of the Jim Gaffigan line, if you guys are aware of this line. Jim Gaffigan talks about people at the gym that are in amazing shape, or like we might take a ride down Kelly Drive in our cars while someone else is running on that, walking path, jogging path, whatever. Or also the path where there's those 4-seater bikes that look like little cars that are awful. And I'm pretty sure I tore my ACL in one of them. But anyway, not the point. Jim Gaffigan's line is when he sees people that are phenomenally in shape, still working out, he's like, what are you doing? You're done. You know what I mean? Howie Roseman, I look at this team, and I'm like, yeah, I think you're pretty much done. Other than depth, I think you're pretty much done. But what could be the next move for Howie Roseman? We'll talk about that when it comes to your Philadelphia Eagles. Coming up in just a little bit. And, I mean, if you needed more fun, oh, man. For the people on the podcast, right now I'm showing the picture of the sleepy Mets fan during the game yesterday in Flushing, New York. We'll zapruder this picture because upon further review, there's just a lot. There's quite a few oddities. But let's start it off with the man himself, Aaron Nola, who got the start yesterday for your Phillies, looking to improve to 5-2 on the season, and that's exactly what Aaron Nola was able to do. I mentioned the 32 pitches that he tossed going through the first couple innings there, the first 3 innings, and how great he was in the process. But Aaron Nola goes out there yesterday and dominated, most notably with his knuckle curve. Of the 8 strikeouts that he had, 6 of those strikeouts came courtesy with the punch-out, put-away pitch of the knuckle curve. He was incredible with this pitch yesterday. This has become, and I know they're alluding to it more on the broadcast yesterday, but this has become his go-to pitch. I remember when he first came up, we all knew what to expect from him as far as not being a power pitcher, but seeing him come up and get that fastball in the middle of the season to around 94, 95 miles per hour with a little bit of consistency. It takes a long time for him to really ramp up to that speed, but seeing at least him get to that number is somewhat surprising in his career, given that everybody said he wasn't going to be able to improve on his velocity. We've seen some improvement, not overall consistent with that fastball, but we've seen it happen. But what he has really developed, he's gotten away from the changeup a little bit, and we have seen him time and time again really start to develop that knuckle curve. And over the last 2 years, you've seen him try to perfect it. And seeing him going into this year, he has perfected that pitch. And he has left guys just flailing at nothing. A ball at their feet, still flailing away at it. 6 of the 8 putouts yesterday on that knuckle curveball. As the game goes on, he gets into a little bit of trouble late in the game. Not much, but he finally had the no-hitter broken in the 6th inning. In the 7th inning, he has that 3-pitch inning where he just gives up the hit and then gets a line drive to Cody Clemens at second, or excuse me, Byson Stott at second base. And to Cody Clemens at second base. And then he gets the double play. Whit Merrifield goes around the horn for the 5-4-3 double play. 3 pitches. It's the 6th time this season where there's been a 3-pitch inning. And the Phillies were actually part of the most recent one that was last week, or 2 weeks ago, rather, against the Toronto Blue Jays, against Pop. He got a 3-pitch inning against the Phils. So watching all that play out yesterday was pretty wild. And Aaron Nola, after the game, gave credit to Garrett Stubbs. And Stubbs said, look, it's not huge. I'm not making a big deal out of this. This isn't a turnaround. This isn't banging the drum to keep Garrett Stubbs. But here's what I know. The Philadelphia Phillies clubhouse loves Garrett Stubbs. You could call him a glorified mascot. I don't know. But they love Garrett Stubbs. We've had Garrett Stubbs on this show, and Garrett Stubbs has talked about how he's had the best job in sports. He's the backup catcher to JT Realmuto. But the Phillies are in an instance right now where JT is expected to be in the lineup today. Rob Thompson said that after the game yesterday. But you could see him yesterday when they showed him warming up Nola at one point when Garrett Stubbs was on the on-deck circle in the previous half of the inning, and Realmuto went out there to warm up Nola. You could see him shifting around a little bit, and you could tell that he was wincing. Maybe it was the knee. Maybe it's the knee that's kept him out of the lineup over the last couple of days. But he's expected to be in the lineup today. Also, what's his name? I'm blanking on his name. The catcher in minor leagues right now. Rafael Mencall. Anyway, he's also dealing with lower back pain in the minor leagues, so he just had a rehab assignment. So it's not like he's going to get called up tomorrow. But Stubbs has gone through this entire season and not done anything, unfortunately. And the bunt base hits haven't been there. The base hits haven't been there. The all of a sudden a home run out of nowhere hasn't been there for him. So he has really struggled. So seeing him at least come into this series, get the RBI sack bunt 2 days ago, and then seeing him come into this game yesterday and seeing him be able to at least catch a complete game shutout for Aaron Nola is a great thing. Now, why is that important? I know it's not his fault. And actually was just reading Anthony Sanfilippo's article on this on Crossing Broad, because I had highlighted something without even seeing this article yet. But Zach Wheeler, in his bad start against the Miami Marlins, saying that the communication was off between him and Garrett Stubbs. It's not throwing Garrett Stubbs under the bus by any means. But still, it's not a good look for Garrett Stubbs to have a communication issue. Now, you might say, oh, he's barely caught Zach Wheeler. Why is this? Of course there's going to be a communication issue. Of course he's going to have trouble getting on the same page. Sure. But when a pitcher even mentions it and a guy isn't hitting, like Garrett Stubbs isn't hitting, and you're looking at a guy like, why is he here other than a Budweiser case on his head? You know what I mean? Overalls. A bottle of tequila he's partying with in the clubhouse. You start to get questions asked. I'm only making this case because I know that he means a lot to that Phillies clubhouse. But bottom line is, if you're Dave Dombrowski, if you're Rob Thompson, you want your backup catcher to at least be able to produce for you. So seeing him go out there and catch for Aaron Nola yesterday during the complete game shutout is a great thing. I don't know why my camera is focusing. There we go. On the back. A little inside baseball, no pun intended there. But anyway, bottom line, last thing I'll say on Stubbs is just good to see him at least be out there for a big moment like this. As far as Aaron Nola went yesterday, again, there are certain moments where you just look like he's just in absolute control. And yesterday he was in absolute control. I would have loved for the Phillies offense to help him out a little bit more than they did in yesterday's game. There's a couple instances there, especially with runners in scoring position, that the Phillies failed to capitalize on some big moments, especially when you get back-to-back singles to lead off an inning, and you don't get anything out of it. But Nola almost needed to be perfect yesterday. One, his previous 2 starts, we highlighted he only went 9 2/3 in those previous 2 starts after logging 7+ innings in 3 consecutive starts, something he hasn't really done much in his career, especially with back-to-back 8-inning performances. So over his last 2 performances, he really struggled. So seeing him come out yesterday and just take back command and be able to cruise, especially through the first 6-7 innings of that game yesterday, was a great sign for Aaron Nola. The other thing that it does is it gets you your 30th win of the season. And if you didn't see the numbers after yesterday's game, how about this? With the Phillies now being 30-13 on the year, they're tied for the second fastest second fastest to 30 wins in franchise history. That's through 43 games. 1993, it took them 43 games to get to 30 and 13. 1913, it took them 43 games to get to 30 and 13. The fastest they ever did it was 41 games. That was for the 30th win in 1976. How about that? Well, we talked about them getting out to the greatest start since 93 and now since 76 and now 1913. One of the things I've looked at is not just the individual numbers, but it's great to see the team and franchise accolades go along with it. Because what we're seeing right now is insanely special. And one of the things that I did pick up from that Anthony Sanfilippo article was how with a team like this that's 30-13, we might be looking for things to criticize. I still find things to criticize. Whether it's the inconsistency of Nick Castellanos, I still find questions to ask whether or not it's going to be who's the next guy that's going to step up, whether the guy in the bullpen is really going to struggle, whether or not Dave Dombrowski is going to get somebody else to go in that bullpen, whether or not Sir Anthony Dominguez has worked out the kinks that he has gone through in the early goings of this season. I still find plenty to look at with this team and go, you can still get better there, or what's wrong? For instance, Bryce Harper's at bat 2 days ago, where he got the 3-1 count and then watched the sinker go right down the middle of the plate, didn't offer at it, and then watched the sinker go right down the middle of the plate at the letters and didn't offer at it. Oh, what happened there? Turns out we get that answer, as apparently Bryce Harper, before yesterday's game, was experiencing a migraine after taking the ball off his head in his first at-bat 2 games ago against the Mets. The previous day, I should say. And he experienced a migraine. So maybe he was having some head issues at that point. I don't know. Maybe he didn't sleep the night before. I don't know. But I still find plenty to talk about, plenty to break down when it comes to this Phillies team. I don't need to really question all that much unless a pitcher questions it, as Zach Wheeler does, what's going on with the backup catcher, especially after the game yesterday when Rob Thompson says that JT Realmuto is going to be out there in today's lineup. So I certainly don't look for things to nitpick at with this Phillies team. I want to enjoy every second of this, especially before June, because we haven't been treated to a start to the season like this in quite some time. And to win a series against the Nationals, to win a series against the Mets, and they've got 2 wins now in their back pocket against the Mets, and then they'll get the 6:40 start time tonight to continue all this. That's nice. Of course, I would have loved to see him beat the Braves in that first series of the season. But then if you were going to tell me, all right, look, you're going to lose this series against the Braves. You're going to lose the series against the Reds. And then you're not going to lose the series for a very, very long time. And the Phillies are still very much in that swing where they haven't lost a series since that second series of the season against the Cincinnati Reds. I'm loving it. I'm loving every second of it. As far as yesterday's game went with the bats, I mentioned there were some opportunities there for the Phillies to really take advantage and blow things open. They weren't able to do that. They get that third inning where, excuse me, my allergies just all over the place today. Excuse me. I took my allergy pill. I don't know what the hell's going on here. And it's raining out, for crying out loud. That third inning really impressed me as far as, they got 2 runs, but more so, Johan Rojas went out there in that third inning to lead things off. Got into a 2-2 count, and then worked a 9-pitch at bat that he won with a single. Then Stubbs gets up there, he strikes out. Kyle Schwarber works a walk. Good to see him back in the lineup yesterday. Nick Castellanos grounds out the third. Unable to turn a double play with Schwarber hustling to second base. Beatty ends up just being able to throw out Castellanos at first. Stott works the walk in a 7-pitch at bat. That was also a 2-2 count. Bohm gets hit by a pitch again with the bases loaded. Please stop hitting Alec Bohm. Unless the bases are loaded, then you can hit him. As long as it's not anything that's going to swell, like his pinky somehow magically did not swell after game 1 of this series, and then hit him in the arm like he did yesterday. And, all's right with the world. Then Marsh worked a walk, bringing in another run, and then Whit Merrifield flew out to center. Bases loaded, 1-out situation. 2-out situation. They at least get 2 runs out of that. All right. Then after that, they struggled. Bohm led off with a single in the 6th inning. Marsh got a single in the 6th inning as well. First and second, nobody out. Merrifield grounds out to short. Clemens strikes out. Rojas strikes out as well. Not ideal. Phillies weren't able to get anything going again until the 9th inning when Kyle Schwarber got a 1-out double. Nick Castellanos came up, got a single, got Schwarber to third. Stott got the RBI single to right field. 12 RBIs in the month of May for Byson Stott. 9 RBIs in his last 5 games. Pretty good. And then Alec Bohm. I still don't know how this ball stayed in fair territory. I thought when Marte went into the slide, it was well foul, and Alec Bohm will get another hack. This ball drops in where Marte overslides essentially in right field, slides into foul territory, ball bounces in fair territory and over the fence for a ground rule double. A ground rule RBI double for Alec Bohm to cap off the Phillies scoring at 4. Bohm opened it with a hit by the pitch RBI for the 2nd straight game, and then he capped it off with an RBI ground rule double. Stays hot. In the 9th inning, Aaron Nola gets Stewart to strike out. McNeil pinch hits, gets the double, and then Nola sits down Brandon Nimmo after getting him to ground out to third. Marte got a single, start biting your teeth, and then Lindor flew out to center field to end the game. All in all, I love that Aaron Nola gave the hat tip to Garrett Stubbs. I love obviously the control. I love the 4-hit game, and loved as he managed the game throughout up until that 9th inning, which was the only time it was like, oh, could they score? Could the Mets actually score here? Or should I be a little concerned about what's going to happen? But what was fantastic was that after the game, I look at the runners in scoring position. They only had at-bats with a runner in scoring position 3 times in this game. 2 of those, I believe, were in that 9th inning. Not too bad. All 3 of those were with the runner in scoring position. And the only hit was the Marte single. And McNeil got the third. And that's as far as they were able to get on the base pass. This is the Aaron Nola that I was expecting this year. Before the season started, I said that this is no excuses for Aaron Nola. You've gotten your big deal, so there's no crying about a contract. There's no excuses for Aaron Nola where, oh man, this is he's got to have that up and down year when he's had the up and down year of the ERA and the 4s and the 3s, the 4s and the 3s. This is where he has to have that good year. This is where he is due, if you look at the history of his career, for that good season. And now he's got the ERA down to 3.10 after yesterday's game. This is the guy that the Phillies paid. The guy that we have seen, with the exception of his last 2 starts before yesterday. For the majority of the season, this has been the guy that the Phillies paid. Zach Wheeler, rough start. It's going to happen. I've seen Cliff Lee have rough starts. I've seen Roy Halladay have rough starts. Guys have rough starts every once in a while. I think I even described it in the Miami game, the final game of that series. You know what happened? Baseball happened. And then one last thing on Nola's start from yesterday. When you use 13, 12 pitchers? What was it? 12 pitchers, I think, over the last 2 games before yesterday. A complete game shutout is exactly what the doctor ordered. So Aaron Nola being able to go out there yesterday and do that was fantastic. Phillies will have Ranger Suarez on the hill tonight. Jose Quintana will start for the Mets. But before we go any further, let's just take a gander at this, okay? This isn't the first time that that Mets fans have fallen asleep at Citi Field either. I remember a game where a nice couple, I think they were a couple, maybe they didn't meet. They fell asleep on each other at the game. One with their head on the shoulder, the other with their head on the other person's head. They were passed out at a Phillies-Mets game. This person has a blue Mets plastic batting helmet sponsored by Goya. By the way, you can see that. It's backwards. Somebody else put this on this gentleman's head. Okay? Somebody else put this on this gentleman's head. He didn't put this on his own head. Also, the glasses being upside down. I didn't notice that upon first viewing of this, but yet here we are. He's got the glasses on his head upside down. I don't know why that is. This was in the 3rd inning, I want to say. So this was pretty early in the ball game. If you're going to have an instance like this, folks, I don't really know why you're even going to the game. I don't know if he was just messing around. I don't know if he was just trying to have some fun and pretend he was sleeping and the cameras got him just at the right time. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But if this happened in Philadelphia, we'd be pretty embarrassed about it. And the Mets being what they are, which is not a very good baseball team, highly unfortunate. Highly unfortunate. I could look at this all day and just laugh. And I think I will later in the program. I think I'll just laugh my ass off a little bit later in the day. So, Phillies, Mets. Mets, by the way, they dropped to 19-22. Phillies, as I mentioned, 30-13 on the season. Man, I hope, just real quick, for the people on the podcast, if I'm just sniffling through this entire thing, I do apologize. And it's really coming through. I apologize. The sniffling, audio-wise, is what I mean. So, yeah, Phillies have Ranger Suarez on the hill today against Jose Quintana. Suarez is pretty incredible. We've sung the praises. Let's flip it over to your Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles, when I was asked this question yesterday, the 2 names that came up were Calais Campbell and Justin Simmons for Howie's next big move. Then the idea of trading for a wide receiver came up for Howie Roseman as well. What's the next thing that Howie Roseman could do? Let me start off with Justin Simmons. I feel like that hope is dead in the water. I think if a deal was going to happen for Justin Simmons, it was going to happen before the draft, where the Eagles were going to trade whatever capital they had, knowing that they need another member of this secondary that understands Vic Fangio, that speaks fluent Vic Fangio. I feel like the Eagles, if they were going to make that move, they were going to make that move before the season starts. So here's my unfortunate prediction. I think Howie, to go back to that Jim Gaffigan line, I think Howie's done. I think this team looks like they are in fantastic shape. The only thing I see them doing is adding pieces like depth pieces, which are not headline-grabbing pieces, which are not, let's all do backflips over this next Howie move or anything like that. The one move I would actually be disappointed if they made would be for another wide receiver of any, standing. Depth, I get. But the fact that you have young guys that you drafted in this draft that can play running back, can play slot receiver, can go out there and do a bunch of different things for you, whether it is catching balls out of the backfield, whether it is lining up in the slot. They can almost be in that Darren Sproles type of role. That's something that I find very interesting. And Anaya Smith being here, getting that opportunity to play. Anaya Smith being here, already getting the text message from A.J. Brown and already going to work and already seeming like he's a guy that is absolutely dedicated to his craft and, a young guy that's extremely determined for being a 5th-round pick. I love all that. And that seems to me to be a guy that is going to be ready to go. I'd rather develop a talent as a 3rd wide receiver as opposed to go out there. Paris Campbell already being here, certainly noteworthy. I look at the offense and I just see a finished product. Offensive line depth, I think, will come. But I think the Eagles are going to be pretty set with the idea of Matt Hennessy playing right guard. The possibility of Tyler Steen playing right guard. Cam Jurgens, for me, working on the communication there with Jalen Hurts is obviously going to be a huge thing. And we talked about that a little bit yesterday in terms of Eagles that really need to step up. That's something that all that needs to happen. Defensively speaking, it is really weird for me to look at this defensive line and just kind of be like, that's it. There's going to be a move made. And of any eyebrow-raising move that the Eagles could make, I think it would be on that defensive line. We know that the linebacker position is not something of great value to this team. I'm tired of even talking about it. It's just almost something that we have to unfortunately accept. It's just not something that is a very big deal. If they could buy low on a guy like Devin White, they're going to do that. If they could develop Jeremiah Trotter Jr., they're going to develop Jeremiah Trotter Jr. But everything else, I just look at the defensive line and I go, this is where they really want to make improvements after the draft. Defensively speaking, and including the draft, what the Eagles wanted to do was make sure that they bolstered their secondary. Well, they did that by getting arguably two of the best corners in the draft. 2 guys, not just in Quinyon Mitchell, but also in Cooper DeJean, that were projected to go in the 1st round or early in the 2nd round, as Cooper DeJean did. These are the moves that they made because they view these guys not just as starters over a long period of time, but starters in the very near future. DeJean, maybe not right out of the gate, maybe not this year, but he'll certainly get his playing time. Maybe next year. When they move on, most likely from James Bradbury after June 1st, I think these guys are going to get their run, both DeJean and Mitchell. But to go back to the idea of adding Justin Simmons, I think if that was going to happen, it was going to happen before the draft. And then when I heard Vic Fangio talk, and then when I heard Quinyon Mitchell talk, and then also Howie, when he mentioned how they needed to upgrade the position of corner, James Bradbury, I noticed that there was going to be some difference and some changes here. But the thing that really jumped out to me from Quinyon Mitchell is the fact that when he was asked about the Fangio scheme and getting introduced to the Fangio scheme, there was no subtle hint of it being difficult. There was no subtle hint of him saying, oh, this is very, it's a lot. People all say it's a lot. Well, it's a lot they're throwing at me right now, but we're just trying to wrap my head around it. No, he acted like been there, done that. And he said that what he's doing right now with the Eagles in his first couple of days that he's got in the playbook is very simple. It's what I did at Toledo. And that's something that's been on rotation and on repeat in my mind. They drafted a guy who is saying he did a lot of the similar things that Vic Fangio does now. He did those things at Toledo. By all accounts, he's mature beyond his years. The guy is coming in ready to play. The guy's coming in, I feel, ready to start. If he's coming in here of that pedigree, then the Eagles aren't necessarily looking to make any other moves when it comes to really bolstering that secondary. If you're spending two early picks, a first and a second, your first 2 picks in the draft, and you trade it up to get Cooper DeJean, then you're doing that so that these guys get their playing time. The number one way to make sure they get their playing time is that you release James Bradbury and you eat a big old bag of cash, essentially, and you don't trade for more competition for them. I know Howie's always looking to get better. I don't see him getting much better than he is right now before the season starts than the secondary that we see. The other thing is that if he is going to improve, I am very surprised to see this team that is always based on building in the trenches as light as they are in the trenches. I like Milton Williams. I like Jordan Davis. I love Jalen Carter. I want to see all those guys take big steps forward in the upcoming year. The knock I had on Jordan Davis yesterday is, okay, the season isn't over at 14 games. Got to keep that going. Season is over at 13 games. Got to keep that going, especially without Fletcher Cox. Jalen Carter, just continue to be a rising star. Just continue to do your thing, Jalen Carter. Edge rushers now, you look at Bryce Huff, you look at Josh Sweat. Look at what some of these other guys can bring to the table here. Yeah, there's a big challenge there. If you're not getting that consistent push from your interior linemen, then Bryce Huff won't be as effective, as we know. Brandon Graham won't be as effective. Josh Sweat won't be as effective. And the one thing I would really love to avoid is in the first 5 weeks of the season, whatever the case may be, I would love to see this Eagles defense have me not missing Hassan Reddick. I don't see this offense, or excuse me, this defense coming out and just being incredible, cautiously optimistic, you might say, about this Eagles defense. So the one request, other than, of course, hey, don't allow 30 points per game, you know what I mean? Other than the obvious, one thing is just don't have me missing Hassan Reddick. Especially, it's been, what, a month? Especially if Hassan Reddick still hasn't signed a lucrative deal with the New York Jets. Because my big thing at the time of the signing is still my big thing now when it comes to this, Hassan Reddick no longer being here. Where's the money? When he went to the Jets, I was expecting right after, I think it was Ian Rappaport that actually put it out initially. When he went to the Jets, I was waiting for the next tweet to be, oh, and he signs a 3-year contract extension worth whatever. I haven't seen that. Now the draft is come and gone. I still haven't seen it. He is still playing under the same contract that he would have been playing under here in Philadelphia. That makes me a little angry because I'd still very much love to have Hassan Reddick here in Philadelphia. Oh, and the Eagles still have a boatload of money under the cap. So, boatload of cap space. And still no Hassan Reddick. So, yeah, Bryce Huff can make this really easy by getting started out very early on another double-digit sack season. Because, that's kind of what we got used to with Hassan Reddick. That's kind of what Hassan Reddick has done over his last 5 years is just get double-digit sacks, which is pretty nice. 4 years, excuse me. Arizona, Carolina, 2 years. Yeah. Do all that. And we'll all be happy if they do that. Philadelphia Eagles defense. Just make me not miss Hassan Reddick. If I could really fish a wish, I would love to see, of all the things in the upcoming year, under the radar stuff I'm talking about here, guys that most likely won't be starters, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Show me that you're already like a 10-year vet. Show me you're already that guy. Love to see that. Devin White, be healthy and good. Be healthy and good. Those are some things that I'm looking at when I think about this Eagles defense. But when it comes to the next move for Howie Roseman, I don't see any big-name player like a Calais Campbell. I don't see Justin Simmons coming here to Philadelphia. I think they're kind of done as far as making the big moves. But that's not to say that the big moves that they've already made, and there's been a lot of them, aren't damn sexy. And having you eager for the regular season to get underway. Hey, let me tell you about the amazing people at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is fantastic. You want to bet on the game? MyBookie.ag. And when you create an account, first off, download the app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Hey, when you have MyBookie, you can get in on all the action when it comes to the world of basketball, comes to the world of baseball. The playoffs going on right now in basketball. WNBA just getting underway. Caitlin Clark just started her career. How about that? All that on MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Make sure you use promo code Farzy when you create an account and download the app, and you get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Phillies back in town tonight. 2-game set with the Mets as part of their split 4-game home-and-home series. After taking both games in Flushing, the Phillies are in South Philly tonight. You want to go to the game? How about the Gametime app? Download the Gametime app to your phone to get your tickets. Use promo code Farzy and get $20 off your first purchase. 6:40 start time tonight. Use promo code Farzy. Get $20 off your first purchase on the Gametime app. You can view your seats before you buy them so you know exactly what you're getting. And if you find tickets in the same section and row for less money, oh, man, the Gametime app will get you back at 110% of the difference if you find tickets in the same section, same row, for less money elsewhere. That's the Gametime guarantee. And this is one of my favorite things. The all-in pricing. So there's no surprise at the end of checkout. Oh, wait, hold on. These $30 tickets are now $40? How did that happen? Not on the Gametime app. All-in pricing, so there's no ticket shock at the end. That's what's great. That's what's so great about the Gametime app. So download the Gametime app to your phone. Use promo code Farzy when you create an account and save $20 right out of the gate on the Gametime app. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. We'll get to Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Make sure you take advantage of all the inventory that Brett has on SkyMotorcars.com. Let's get into the chat. Oh, wait. Oh, before I get into the chat, check. So Miles Turner and Dante DiVincenzo in the Knicks route of the Pacers in yesterday's game. Game 5 at the Garden. Got a little chippy. There's another hard screen earlier in the game. Dante DiVincenzo continues to flop, which is hilarious. Jalen Brunson actually got called last night for an offensive foul. It was weird. He was trying to get open on an inbounds play. I want to say, well, yeah. And he didn't use the forearm, which is often called for the push-off. He just shouldered the dude. And he actually got called for the offensive foul. It took a review, but they actually called the offensive foul on that. But things got a little chippy in Madison Square Garden yesterday. And when I was following it, one of the things that I kept on thinking about was it really would be nice if the Sixers were still playing basketball. But they're not. So that sucks. Yeah. It really does suck. But the Knicks ran away with it. 30-point victory for them in yesterday's game. Brunson dropped, 44 points in the victory. I thought it was 48, but 44 points in the victory. That has been a fun series. To root against the Knicks, of course. But it has been a fun series. All right, now let's get into the chat check. See how everyone's doing. Oh, and shockingly, the Nuggets came back in that series. They now lead 3-2 over Minnesota. I know somehow, some way, people are shocked at that. But Joker's pretty good at basketball. He dropped 40 last night as well. Jamal Murray, just 16 points on 14 shots. All right, now let's get into the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine Wednesday. Rainy Wednesday morning. Let's see here. IBH, 3-pitch hitting, never thought I'd see it. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Daz, what's going on? Good morning, IBH. Sean Gillespie, what's going on? Where are we at? Rob Gamble. Rob, how the freak do you wake up with this much energy? Farzy is goatish. Well, thank you. I'll show you my secret. I'll get this down here, Rob. This is my espresso. Notice a couple of things there. One, that I've been sitting here talking for about 40 minutes, and I still had some espresso left, so it's cold. And cold espresso is kind of gross, but I take it at that point for medicinal purposes. And then the other thing is I had no pinky up. I did not have a pinky up because I'm not French. French do that. You know what I'm saying? But thank you, Rob. You're very kind. Wait, no way the game is that boring? No way the game is that boring. Oh, the guy's sleeping. Thank you. Shut the Mets out. Yes, Rob. Thank you. Sorry. It took me a minute to put it together. Look, if your team is getting dominated the way Aaron Nola was dominating the New York Mets yesterday, that can be pretty boring. Because you go to the game because you want to be excited. And if the other pitcher is literally shutting down your hitters, you're not even getting a base runner until the 6th inning. If that's the case, let me bring my man back. If that's the case, then that's a problem. And that's exactly the way I think most people would react. I tried to block myself, wipe my nose with a tissue there. Hopefully it worked. Let's see. What else we got here? Pushing the wrong. There we go. Getting picked off of the bases the way. Oh, yes. Thank you. Kyle Schwarber. I don't know what happened to my notes from the game. They're not up here for whatever reason. I don't know what I did with them. But Kyle Schwarber getting picked off second base. Was it Diekman that got him? How about Jake Diekman coming into the game? Yeah, it was Jake Diekman. So in that 7th inning, it's 2-0 game. Stubbs leads off with the ground out. Schwarber walks. Castellanos walks. Runners on first and second with 1 out. Schwarber, the definition of spinning his wheels. Schwarber gets picked off. And I saw Diekman. I don't know how I saw Diekman set up to throw to second and Kyle Schwarber didn't. But I went, oh, Diekman's going to try to pick him off. He moved his left foot in a out of character way, out of his routine, out of his regular windup or whatever, the stretch, whatever. He moved it, and I went, oh, he's going to go for the pickoff. And sure enough, he did. And Schwarber got caught spinning his wheels and originally was called safe. They reviewed it. He was clearly out, and he was out. But then Byson Stott walks. So you would have had another situation for the 3rd time in 2 games where Alec Bohm steps to the plate with the bases loaded and potentially gets hit again for a 3rd hit-by-pitch RBI in 3 days. But yeah, don't like seeing guys get picked off. Daz, best starting rotation I've seen from the Phillies so far. So we all had the hype and we all had the excitement of the 4 aces and all that stuff. Here's what's incredible with that. The Phillies have Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, Sanchez, kind of gutted out his last performance. But then they had Taijuan Walker and Spencer Turnbull, and they replaced Turnbull with Walker. And Walker has been pretty good, with the exception of the one last pitch he throws in his first 2 starts coming back. He's been great. So look, watching this rotation do what they've been doing is awesome. Daz, thanks for the plug. Harper not locked in yet. Yeah, you're right. I like the PH instead of the F, Sir Sketchable. So we'll just say freaking Nola, but in a good way this time. April, he's a Mets fan. Cut him some slack. I would have been hammered too. April, that's the best. That's the best supporting argument for that gentleman. Good job. Sir Sketchable, whole starting staff has been fantastic this year, baby. I love it. It's been incredible. Like every single game, I just expect the starting staff to go out there and give you 6 quality innings. And I expect the offense to mash. The offense hasn't been mashing as of late, but they've mashed just enough. Hey, good morning. And I hate using this phrase because the Eagles ruined it. They find ways to win games. Do they have a little luck on their side sometimes? Yeah, Whit Merrifield not getting called for swinging at that pitch that he clearly swung at. Now, it would have only been a 3-2 count instead of a 3-1 count, but still, Whit Merrifield got the walk. And the bases were loaded. And Alec Bohm's pinky did the rest. Wait, hold on. A, good morning, A. Nice to see you. IBH, Calais Campbell would be a typical Howie late signing, older player that still has drive, 1-year deal, limited snaps, not bad idea. No, it's not. It's really not a bad idea. I just don't see it happening. This is going to be at training camp. I'm saying at training camp. That's the line of demarcation. That's the line of the sand that I'm drawing when it comes to these moves, because training camp starts, preseason starts, regular season starts, guys are hurt, guys aren't as caught up to speed. You realize you need a little bit more help. Last year, even the Eagles overvalued what they had at linebacker and went, we should probably get Myles Jack in here and Zach Cunningham. And Zach Cunningham ended up being their starter. How old is Calais Campbell now? Internet research. God, he's such a monster. 37. Oh, he'll be 38 when the season starts. Good God. Holy pots and pans. Full year in Atlanta, started all 17 games for them last year. 6.5 sacks. Hasn't had a double-digit sack season in 6 years. But yeah, that's a monster of a human. 6'8". God dang, son. Oh, good Lord. James Alexander, what's going on? Good morning, Aaron Nola, complete game. Shutout. We take it. Oh, hell yeah, we take it. What time is the schedule release? That's a great question. 8? I feel like they're making a primetime thing now. 7:30. The network shows at 8. There we go. On the NFL network. Daz, if they are winning, I don't care who is locked in. Now they're losing. Now, if they were losing, that's when it becomes an issue. Crowley, trade could still happen. Yes, it could. Daz, I'm with you. Need to bolster the defensive line. Absolutely. San Francisco worries me that they're looking legit. Daz, look, they're a great football team. Are they generational like the Chiefs? No, but they're a great football team. I don't like using the word scared, but I respect the San Francisco 49ers. I don't respect the Dallas Cowboys. The 49ers have shown that they can beat you. And yes, I do think if Brock Purdy didn't get hurt in the NFC Championship game here in Philadelphia, then it wouldn't have been a blowout. I'm not going to say that the 49ers would have won, but I will say that it would not have been a blowout. I respect the 49ers. They have won in the playoffs. I don't respect the Dallas Cowboys. They haven't won in the playoffs. Raleigh, what's going on? Hello again. Daz, I'd feel 1,000 times better if we didn't let Reddick go. I'd feel a lot better. I don't know if I could go 1,000 times better. If you're talking about just the defense, yeah. Crawley, they didn't let him go. They traded him. That's true. Yes. Crawley, Nola going 9 is great for the bullpen. Hells yeah. Ooh, everybody have it. Daz, I have a feeling he was a major issue in the Reddick. Yeah. I have a feeling it was a major issue in the locker room last year. It's the only thing that makes sense. My theory. Well, the other idea. There's a couple other theories I have. That's one of them. That when he aired all his grievances about the change in defensive coordinator and acknowledged all the confusion they were having defensively after they made the change to Patricia, that the Eagles didn't like that. The other theory is that Vic Fangio looked at him and went, "You're going to be playing a lot more coverage. If you don't like that you'll probably be happier elsewhere." The other is that Howie Roseman and the Eagles said, all right, you want a pay raise. We're not going to give you a pay raise. Seek another trade. Or there's another layer to that where they said, you want a pay raise. We're not going to give you a pay raise. In fact, we're going to give you a pay cut. You have permission to seek a trade. The reason I don't believe that to be true is that if there's a story that comes out about the Eagles telling a player to, go ahead, seek a trade, then it's going to get leaked out too that the Eagles were going to offer him a restructured deal at less money. That story, there's no way that story, if it's true, isn't coming out. That's why I firmly believe the reason he's not here anymore is all about the idea of him wanting the opportunity to get a contract extension, and the Eagles simply were not going to give him the contract extension. He's willing to play under the current year, which he is right now in New York, but in New York he'll have an opportunity to play for more money. It's a stretch. Bottom line is he should still be here. But it pains me that he's not going to be in an Eagle uniform next year. But yeah, as far as his dealings in the locker room, I definitely think that plays into it. Crawley wants a closer. I want a closer. Ooh, Mason Miller on the block. Were you banging that drum for him yesterday, Daz? Crawley for Hader. All right. Oh, big rhythm. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you mentioned this because I would have forgotten about it. Big rhythm. Brady now saying the roasters went too far. Tell us you don't know. Tell us you don't understand what a roast is without telling us you don't understand what a roast is. Dude's crying with a big bag of money. I told you guys, and Big Rhythm, I'll say this as well. I told you guys that I loved the roast. I thought it was great. The only thing I was surprised by, literally, the only thing I was surprised by was that they mentioned Tom Brady's kids. I've talked to comics about this that have been part of roasts, and I love the roast. Thought they were great. I remember watching my first Friars Club roast of Jerry Stiller, I think it was. Yeah. And it was fantastic. And I couldn't believe the jokes. Oh, my God, the jokes. Jeff Ross, my first time watching him in a roast, I was dying. All right, I forget how old I was, but I was dying. And I remember asking one comic in particular, Jim Florentine, as a matter of fact. And I said, are there ever any rules? And he's like, usually there's just one rule: no kids. Like, you don't say anything. You can talk about divorces, marriages. You start talking about kids, that's a whole other thing. I was surprised that they mentioned the kids. I told you guys that was my initial reaction when I watched it. Huh. Okay. Well, one, Nikki Glazer is an American treasure. Two, oh, wow, kids. Huh. Okay. And now Tom Brady is saying that he didn't like how the roast made his kids feel. First off, why are they watching a roast of you, dude? That shouldn't happen. Secondly, if you're his kid, you're totally going to watch that roast. You want to hear everything because your friends are talking about it. The whole world's talking about it. You're on social media. There's no way you're not seeing clips of the roast. There's no way you're not. Even if you were told, don't watch the roast, you're like, all right, I won't watch the roast. A couple of days removed, you're like, scrolling through your phone, you're like, I'm totally going to watch this roast. So, yeah, especially if you're Giselle's kid, if you're her kids, and you see your mom's getting talked about, you see your mom is talking about it, oh, you're going to watch that roast. So if they had a rule of no massage jokes for Robert Kraft, then there should have been a rule about the kids too. But I just thought that with roasts, the only thing you don't touch. Let me rephrase that. The only thing you don't make jokes about are the kids. So that was seeing Brady say, oh, I don't like how it made my kids feel. No kidding. No kidding. Crazy. What's up? I'm liking the no Homer Nola. I like that too. Dad's been banging the drum now for over a year. And it worked for Aaron Nola or for Trey Turner. So there you go. Get Miller in here. We'll have ourselves some good times. Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, skymotorcars.com. NFL schedule comes out tonight. 8 o'clock, NFL Network, ESPN. There will be more leaks along the way. Sean Gillespie, no massage joke. Sorry. Yeah. So, yeah. Wait, what the heck is... Yeah, 8 o'clock tonight, NFL Network will have it, but they'll have plenty of leaks before then. That goes on tonight. Phillies and Mets play game 3 of their split home-and-home 4-game series. I look forward to not having to say that in 2 games. 6:40 tonight, Rangers Suarez against Jose Quintana. Phillies will go for their 31st win of the season. How about that? Also, unfortunately, the Braves did win last night, so they remain just behind the Phillies in the NL East. It's fun checking the standings in May. They remain 2 games behind the Phillies in the standings. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is the Farzy Show. Make sure you guys hit like and subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Make sure you guys hit like and subscribe on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. And then also hop on over to the brand new Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, where I give you all the postcasts you can handle for your Philadelphia Phillies. After every Phillies game, I'm on Locked On Sports Philadelphia, breaking it down for 30 minutes for you. So don't miss that as well. I'll be on after the Ranger Suarez 8th win of the season. We'll call it tonight against the Mets. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Be back with you guys tonight after Phillies Mets on Locked On Sports Philadelphia. And then I'll be back with you guys right here tomorrow morning for the Farzy Show. See you guys then. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Hopefully you get a little power nap in like this gentleman. Thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow.